Cool. What's up, guys? So this is a How to Become a Dog Trainer, episode three. Kind of the title of this one is Embrace the Grind. Um, kind of give you a little bit of an overview on what this means is you see a lot more in social media. A lot of people are talking about how to avoid burnouts and work smarter, not harder. These type of like sales pitchy things to get people to buy their programs, right? Which is great. It's awesome because it's good for them in that sense. But I'd rather be more realistic with you guys, and that's why we titled this "Embrace the Grind." So I took some notes here. I'm gonna go over certain things with you. I've been doing this for a long time. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Mike Jones. I'm the owner and founder of Primal Canine, also the Canine University, Canine Street League. I do R&D for Ray Allen Manufacturing, amongst a bunch of other projects that I have. But mainly, I've been a dog trainer since I was, you know, for a long time. It's been a few decades now. But the first thing to understand is you can't escape the burnout. Know a burnout is going to happen eventually. And what I mean by burnout, and I'm sure this happens in all different career paths, is you just get tired, overwhelmed. Um, it kind of just hits you. It happens a lot in the dog training world because typically, if you're a dog trainer, you have a dog, you do board and trains, and you have private clients. You also do, reach out to your clients. You're in communication with them. You're typically running a business. Running a business itself is very difficult, and you're doing everything on the running the business side. Your marketing, your bookkeeping, your scheduling. The list goes on and on. And with dogs, dogs don't know holidays. Dogs do not know weekends. It is a 24/7 type of thing. So eventually it's going to hit. And when you're a new dog trainer, you're full of vigor. You're very wanting and willing to go, right? So you just go, 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 go. And then eventually the passion that you have doesn't necessarily fade out, but you just get tired, which is perfect. It's perfectly reasonable. It happens. Um, because dog training itself for most people started as a hobby, and then the hobby becomes real life, and then you involve money and business, and then the stressors of those come in. So it becomes a very complex, compiled thing, and it just accumulates until you burn out. So just understand that's going to happen. You can't avoid it. It'll happen. But if you embrace it, understand it, take precautionary measures, then you'll be good. And that's kind of what this whole entire episode is about. It's okay to burn out. It's totally normal. I've had multiple burnouts in my career, but after the first few, you understand it's happening. So I've taken precautionary measures over the last decade to minimize my lows and maximize my highs. Eventually it all passes, right? So starting off, I like to say just on the lifestyle aspect of things, establish a routine. Have certain anchors in the day. Like for myself, because a lot of my job is very physical. Being the main decoy in my company, also decoying our personal dogs that we use for demos, for our pro cams, for our workshops, and just general. My life is fairly physically demanding. I start my day off after I break the dogs with workouts. No matter how much I can do in my time frame, I usually set about 2 hours out of my morning to do my running, my lifting, my boxing, or my jujitsu, whatever it may be. I have that day. I try to do a minimum of 2 hours of working out in the morning. Sometimes a little more if I can get more time out of the day, which is why I wake up early. So my normal schedule is up between 4 to 5, normal schedule. But sometimes I get around 6. But usually it's in between the 2 hour windows, and then we're up until 11, 12 at night. So it's just one of those things. I don't expect everyone to have that schedule. So make sure, don't base it off of mine. Base it off something that you can do continuously. This is just something that you understand as you go what schedule works best for you. So, understand one, this is a 7 day a week schedule, not a Monday through Friday. Again, I'll stress this again, there's no weekends in dogs. And in fact, if you do private lessons, majority of your weekends are going to be slammed because, the normal group of people who have a 9 to 5 work Monday through Friday. So your Saturday and Sunday are slammed. So this goes into set a reasonable schedule, right? So after the lifestyle understanding, okay, I did my workout, I broke my personal dogs, I've trained them, I'm going into my board and trains, right? They got to get their work in too. For me, I start my private lesson schedules around 1 o'clock and I go into the evening because typically going off of the 9 to 5 schedule, they're going to be off around 4. Maybe some people like work from home, so they'll actually, 3. I start at 1 and I'll go until 9 or whatever it can be. But that works for me because my wife, she helps with some of the dogs that we have here, personal dogs, and taking care of them so they can get rotated out in and out. And if I didn't have that situation I had, then I would adapt my schedule to something that worked best for me and best for my clients and everything, right? So you have to set a reasonable schedule for yourself. You know, Keep in mind weekends are full for private clients. So that's typically where you're going to be at. So you're going to miss your weekends, and that's fine, right? You can put your have a random day off during the week where you just focus on the dogs you have in your care, your dogs, and you get to have fun. For me, it's my Wednesday. My Wednesday is, I go out. Yeah, I don't go out. We don't. We live up in the hills, so we kind of just usually stay home or do a dinner thing. But my Wednesdays are the days that I don't go to the facility. Sunday and Monday, I am usually my daughter. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I'm with my daughter. So a lot of it's family time, taking care of my boarding trains, the raising trains, training our dogs, handling our business stuff, setting up my marketing schedule, making sure Street League is going good. And Street League is our professional dog sport. Make sure that's going good. And just our Valor, our nonprofit for just handling my back end business, right? So I have those days. Whereas Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm in front of clients most of the time, most of the day, and handling the miscellaneous things that come with my schedule. So what I would suggest doing for yourself is write all this stuff down, what you have to do, and then set days for those on your schedule. And pretty much that's going to be something that, some days you'll work heavily on that, and other days you'll work heavily on the dogs. So figuring those things out. And then the other part of it too, let's say if you're jumping into this in a full-time like way, figure out what your pricing should look like. If this is a brand new thing to you and you're going to go into I don't want to say highly aggressive competitive industry, like in the Bay Area, there's a lot of dog trainers, and it's great. I'm friends with a lot of them, but people are going to be price shopping because the general public is going to be looking at the bottom dollar, right? So this is where when you're coming in, you have to have, I don't want to say an advantage in a sense, but you have to have something that's a little more enticing. So your pricing is going to be a little bit lower. So with that being said, figure out, what is the budget for your monthly cost? How can you survive being a dog trainer? How many boarding trains do you need to take in that's realistic? How many private lessons do you need to take in that's realistic? And how does that fit into your schedule? So put that into your scheduling, or think about that when you're going into your scheduling, what your pricing looks like. And then understand as you grow, your pricing is going to get higher. For me, when I started, my pricing was almost 10 times what it was back when I first started. So, or when I first started Promo Cannon, which is a little over 11 years now. So, price your scheduling out. Understand that it will grow, but do not, and I stress this to you guys I stress this to you guys like very hard. Do not underprice yourself to where you're doing a lot for little, because this is where your quality of work is going to become bad, which will kick you in the butt later. Because the most people will always complain more about the negatives versus boast about the positives. Meaning, if you do a few bad lessons, a few bad board and trains, that's going to get a lot further out there than you doing great. It's like the 10 to 1. You could do 10 great, sessions, and no one will ever hear about you. You do one bad, everyone will hear about you. So keep that in mind. Also, it'll increase your rate of burnout if you're underpricing yourself. So price yourself aggressively, but not like low. Let's see here. And then again, if the numbers don't add up, then maybe you do this part time for a little bit until you can put your hands on more leashes, get more people to vouch for you, take on other part time jobs to, make money. I advise some of my apprentices when they're going through the program that I tell them, like, hey, you're not going to make money for about a year, just because you're learning, right, as you're going through the program. And it's just like paying for school. You got to learn and pay to go through school in order to get the job you want. So I advise them, hey, go get a part-time job at a pet store or a place where you can multitask. One, you can go ahead and be in an environment where there's a lot of people out there and you can talk to them about what you're doing and how the things you're doing. So eventually, when you go full time, you already have kind of a list of people who know this is what you do. Helps you bring in clientele, also helps you bring in money. So take your time with it. Uh, I said take your time with it. The other thing is, don't be in a rush to get your business like to this level. Understand this is all about endurance. And what I mean by don't be in a rush to get your business to a specific level, I mean it in everybody wants to get to the top, right? Like everybody wants to be at the top. I can tell you, um, just from my own personality, you never, you don't really get to a top, if that makes sense. There's always more to do in our industry, and I believe it's probably this in a lot of different industries, is because there's no like standard, right? So when I first started dog training, it was like, oh, okay, cool, you just grow your business, you get different locations, expand, right? And then as I expanded and I did different locations, it just became something where I was traveling a lot. I had my daughter, um, you know, I wanted to spend more time with my daughter and my general family. And I realized that the traveling expansion things just wasn't paying out, right? Um, so we went into, this world is kind of open ended in the dog training world because it is open ended. There's so many different varieties. People get TV shows. We tried the TV show thing. I did not did not like it. I didn't like faking things. Um, we did a documentary. We did those things, and it was kind of like not really the thing for me. We started getting into manufacturing equipment with Ray Allen, which is really cool. Podcasts became a big thing. I've been on Mike Ritland podcast, and we've built the brand per se, and getting to the accolades and doing the things we've done, and starting new companies within the dog world and the industry. You still kind of grow, and I still to this day feel like there's a lot more to do. So understand it. It's about the journey, and this is where the endurance aspects of it come in. Just you're continuously going. Set a milestone, accomplish it. Understand there's another milestone going. Don't think that there's this top to get to, and just know that it's just day in, day out, grind, 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 and just embrace it. Hence embrace the grind. Uh, and the biggest thing to kind of, and I've lost sight of this, uh, multiple times, and it's in my earlier in my career, and it's because I was generally I was focused, but I was kind of in the young stages of my career, about a little over a decade ago, yeah, a lot over a decade ago, was that like, comes coming from my background, in fighting, there's champions, right? You become a champion in mixed martial arts, you become a champion in, boxing. Um, even in some of the corporate, the one corporate job I have, you become a director, right? Or an executive officer or whatever it may be, right? There's pinnacles. In dog training, there is none of that. You're a dog trainer. You can establish accolades. You can become a champion in a sport, but that's not a dog training. It's a variety of different things, right? Kind of getting back to the point of it, like you just keep going, and when you get wrapped up in this stuff, you forget why. Like, why am I doing this? Like, you can't forget about your whys. Why did I get started, and why am I doing this? For me, why I got started is I wanted to help dogs because dogs helped me a lot in my life. They helped me overcome a lot of things. I always say dogs kind of made me a human just because of my past. And if you're ever interested in my past, I'm sure there's a bunch of podcasts you can you can listen about it. And why did I get started? Because of dogs. My love for dogs and wanting to help them. Why do I keep going? I keep going for my family, um, and for dogs. Dogs are part of my family. My daughter, my wife, I grind for them. The dogs that have gotten me through some of the craziest times of my life, I grind for them. It has to be bigger than your wants and your needs. It has to be bigger than you. Your whys are the reason why you get up, the reason why you keep going when things get tough, why you continue to grind. But yeah, just remember those things. Understand that burnout is fine. I think people villainize it so much because it's more clickbaity. But It's just gonna happen. You know, it happens in everyone's life. But embrace it. Kind of follow what I told you earlier in these. Hope you guys are taking notes. If not, rewatch it. But any questions, please feel free to put them in the comment section. If you guys like more of these type of videos, please let me know. Any topics you guys would like me to talk about, go ahead and put them in the comment section. But yeah, guys, share this with your friends. If you liked it, subscribe, comment. But yeah, embrace the grind.